Jesse, do you remember when you begged Austin Matthews for a photo at Leafs Media Day?
How could I forget? The man's such a stud.
And I quote, man, if I see him in person, I'm going to just say Line A versus Matthews. What did you actually end up saying to the man? A big fan.
No. I was like, hey, man, can I get a picture? Yeah, sure. We're posing for the picture. Big fan, by the way.
No. Big fan. You said 2 words. Let's get this tier list underway. Season preview, I guess. I don't want to say tier list because it's a podcast, not a tier list video.
Yeah, it's kind of both. I mean, we're like, obviously, we're going to do a tier list, but it's in our podcast, and it's kind of what we're using as a season preview. I think we did this 2 years ago, and maybe skipped last year because we did a pod, and now we're like, we kind of like that, you know?
We're still going to predict divisions, by the way. That's coming in a future version, but we're going to rank teams now.
So we've got the top category, that's cup favorite. We can only have one team in there. There's only one cup favorite, right? You can't pick multiples for that. But then
can't pick the Sharks twice.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
This guy's losing some serious money this year. But cup contenders, that's obviously, there's a bunch of them. It's kind of the teams that probably finished like 1st to 3rd in both conferences. Playoff hunt, it's just the teams that you're thinking are going to be in around the playoffs. I don't know, you're probably looking down to like 10th there-ish. Fun but bad. Those are the kind of, we were talking earlier, like that's the like team that you're streaming that isn't your team because you're just kind of like, they're not going to do much, but I like their players.
Mm-hmm. Maybe a team that's like not quite there yet, but might be there in a couple of years.
And you like their players. They got fun young guys.
It's a league pass, like NBA league pass team right there.
Exactly. Yeah. No chance. Pretty clear there.
They have no chance.
And then, so no chance. The other thing I would say is they also are probably too good to really be first overall favorites, but probably like almost definitely not going to make the playoffs. And then we've got the first overall favorites, where I think there's a pretty clear kind of tier of teams that are pretty much tanking this year.
People are fighting for that one. That might be like a dogfight by the end.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to go ahead and start with the Atlantic Division. And we're going to start with you, Jesse, with the Boston Bruins.
The Bruins are an interesting one for me because, they were able to run it back in a way, and they brought Krejci back, who still got some juice, and Bergeron obviously still a very...
Does he still have juice?
A little bit, I think. You want a guy like that in the playoffs.
I mean, like,
have no idea. A guy just played in
to
Czech for a year, right?
He's not like that old though,
He's
and
only making $1 million. It's not a big investment, right?
exactly, yeah. And Bergeron's making only $2 million he signed for this year, and then they get Zach, I actually like him as a fit on that team, and I think the issue for me is that they've got some defensemen who are hurt right now, don't they?
And Brad Marchand.
And Marchand's
out till like Thanksgiving.
So I would probably say playoff hunt because that's a pretty good division too, but when healthy, I think they're still a threat because they're the Bruins. They're just a dangerous team every time they're in the playoffs, I think.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, and it's I think more than anything, it's probably just that the Atlantic Division's improved a bit, so that kind of puts it a little bit into question for them. Because I'd say if they make the playoffs, they're probably a cup contender, but if they don't, obviously you can't be.
I am the smartest man alive!
And they didn't make that like free agent signing splash that they usually kind of do. And I guess that was Taylor Hall the year before, and so they didn't really add much.
Big coaching change, though.
That too. That could be interesting with Jim Montgomery in instead of the same voice, the same message in Bruce Cassidy, and maybe they just needed a fresh voice to get them back in cup contention.
I just think Bruce Cassidy was a good coach.
I do too.
So I don't know how much you really improve your team by doing that.
The injuries suck though too. Like that's going to be tough losing your top pair.
Imagine if they fall out of it pretty quick with all those guys out, because you're missing McAvoy and Grzelcyk, right?
Yeah, and Marchand.
And obviously Marchand, as he said, if you fall back, that's tough. It's gonna be really hard to crack into it, especially because with our next team, which I'll cover, Buffalo. They've improved. Not that much, though. So, no. I'm just going to go ahead and be pretty quick with this one. You can go ahead and just put them in the no chance. I don't think they're quite fun but bad yet.
Really?
I mean, they have a great prospect pool. And they actually have a goalie this time around, even though, because, Craig Anderson is, 90 years old. Eric Comrie. Pal.
That's going to be their goalie this year?
That's the guy who's getting a lot of minutes. I think it's in between no chance and fun but bad. I don't think it's quite fun but bad, if I'm being honest. Yes, you want to see Owen Power like rip it up. Yes, you want to see if Jack Quinn, like he was doing crazy numbers in the AHL, and if he can do that in the NHL. But I still think with some of the teams that are going to belong in that fun but bad, they'd still be a bit below the ones I'm thinking of in my mind. So I do think it's no chance.
Would anyone want to go fun but bad?
Yeah,
because they're kind of like my top like fun but bad team. I don't know. I just like so
Top
many of their
fun but
players.
bad.
No,
I'm so
completely
interested
agree.
to see in their like how their young guys develop, especially Quinn. Cousins is an RFA next year. I'm really interested to see if he takes a next step.
I think by the end of this
Krebs,
list,
Tuck,
you're going to question
Tage
that.
Thompson. Maybe we will.
I think when that list is said and done for fun but bad, they'll be closer to the bottom of it than you think.
All right.
Detroit is next okay, I'll let you speak, but this seems like they belong in the category you just sung the Sabres in, if
Fun
not
but
higher.
bad? No, I don't think playoff hunt yet. I would like to see how this team does with all of the new pieces, because this is the first summer that Stevie Y has actually spent a lot of money. They brought in guys like Andrew Kopp, Kubalik, Perron. Yeah, they brought in a bunch of guys. So
Ben Sherrod.
Ben Sherrod, our favorite.
Winnipeg legend. You know what though?
Fun but bad.
Honestly,
they're fun but bad because they have Raymond, they have Sider, they have Larkin, they have Bertuzzi. Like they have a lot of the great names and a lot of the young prospects that you're just like, they had great years last year. You want to see how they develop.
I think I'd stick them in playoff hunt. I think they're hovering right around like they have a lot of really good young talent. I feel you. I feel like they may even hover between fun but bad and playoff hunt.
If you want to put them in playoff hunt, think about that you have to get them above the Leafs, Bruins, Lightning, Panthers, Sens.
Nope.
I think they can compete with the Sens. I think they can compete with the Bruins.
Didn't they allow the second most goals in the league?
Something crazy.
It's-
They were.
They'll be better than last year. They're not going to be like lottery favorites by any means, but I don't think that's a
I think it's
playoff
too
team.
early to put them in the playoff hunt.
I think a guy like David Perron can do like, maybe I'm overrating him, but like I just feel like a guy like that can do a lot for a team, and he's going to complement that top six really nicely.
He also, Perron's one of those guys that, like, I agree he has been good, but he's also a guy that at any moment could fall off a cliff. Just enjoy the season, have fun, watch the prospects develop and stuff. That's some of the funnest time you can have as a fan of a sports team.
All right, next team is Florida, and Corwin, it's all you, your dark horses.
I don't know if this is bold. I think this is actually probably what people are pretty on par with expectation-wise, but I'm actually taking them out of cup contenders in my mind.
Sure.
The reason I consider this a downgrade is because they won the President's Trophy. You'd think that's a team that should be a cup contender. They lost a lot in the offseason. Obviously, Giroux was a late-season addition, so like I don't really know how much you can consider that as like a minus from their actual roster.
Sherratt, too. You're
Yeah, I actually that's like a addition by subtraction, but the but realistically, their decor is a actual question mark
not
now.
good.
Yeah, like
I went back and looked. Ekblad has played with Uyghur the last 3 seasons. He hasn't had a different like primary partner. I think it's going to be like Forsling this year, and it's just like you got to be worried about that.
Forsling's not
He's
bad.
good.
Yeah,
He's good, but he's not Uyghur.
Yeah, I mean, and then obviously Kachuk's a great player, but you're basically banking on him being a 100-point, 40-goal player again. And, like, he's not playing next to Johnny Gaudreau anymore. He's not getting the benefit of playing with Huberdeau because he went the other way. So they also lost Mason Marchment, who was, like, a great player for them.
Duclair to injury as well.
It's like 100 goals they're looking to replace, basically. And they
pretty
brought in
nuts.
Kachuk, and that's basically the only guy they brought in to replace it.
And maybe people will get mad at me for saying this. I think under Paul Maurice, the Panthers are also just a worse team.
Not happy there.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like Panthers are just going to play boring hockey under Maurice. I don't know. Like, I guess Barkov and Kachuk will bring some excitement, but, like, yeah, they're definitely taking a step down.
All right, well, next one up, Montreal. This one seems pretty obvious, too.
I mean, it depends if Carey Price is playing, right? I think that's, like, part of... You have to take that into account. I don't know if I'm necessarily going to say first overall favorite this year. I feel like they're just not going to be as bad as they were last year.
Especially under Marty, they looked pretty good.
Yeah, I'd
He likes
say
the young guys. He gives them more of a role.
they're almost, but they're kind of like a fun but bad team to me because I just think that they have a lot of young, exciting players. But then again, they're kind of unpredictable and they have some like really good top end talent on their team. So I'm gonna go fun but bad. And you guys might disagree and put them in no chance, and I would understand, but. There are just some good young players on that team.
I disagree, but I agree with a couple of the players. Like Slavkovsky, like he's just like a unit. I want to see like what that looks like. So I could see the fun but bad because it'll be fun. I'll hone in on him, and I know just back to the Sabres thing. I don't know, like a winger who's just massive. Yeah, like I kind of want to see that.
Suzuki is the captain now. Is going to be awesome. It's the youngest captain in team history. Like that's really cool, but. Other than that, I'm not really interested in this team. I don't think
is this ranking, by the way, like it is like skill, because then we have to stick them in no chance because they are not better than the Sabres.
That's the thing. Like I'm more thinking that we have to move the Sabres up, honestly, because I do think they're very similar.
Wait to the end.
Yeah, we'll wait till the end
because these guys might get bumped back down too.
It's possible these guys get pumped down. It's possible the Sabres get
we'll
bumped up.
Wait till the end.
But I think at the end of this, they will be in the same level.
All right, moving on to the next one. That's me actually with Ottawa, which to me they belong more in this fun but bad. If I'm being honest.
Oh, really?
I don't actually see them being in the playoff hunt. I think that
you get to rank them initially, but I think you're going to get outvoted.
For sure, and I'm sure people in the comments are going to think that I'm hating, and they will absolutely disagree with me, but I think that if I had to put money on it right now, no. I think they'll be just below that almost the entire season, but they're going to be on the very high end of fun but bad, like because they will be a ton of fun. They've made a lot of great additions, like getting to Brinkett, awesome. Like that's crazy. The trades that they made and to get the talent they got, and the fact that Giroux came back for like pretty cheap too.
I think the issue with the Senators obviously is like defense. We just don't know what's going to happen.
And
Goaltending too.
Yeah. But like Cam Talbot is like solid enough that like I'm not gonna like. It's not somebody that I would be like, oh my god, he's gonna sewer their season.
It's not, but I also don't think
with that defense.
I don't think he's gonna be the reason that they make the playoffs.
I just think that there's teams that if somebody said Ottawa will finish above them, I'd be like,
it wouldn't shock.
Could totally happen.
Totally.
Which is why
it's not a very hot take to say. Like I was saying, like you could sway me, but
I'll vote to put them up in playoff.
I think you guys are probably going to put them up, but I figured I would just put them where I think they should go.
I'm going to keep them in fun but bad. Like bad, I hate the word bad.
Bad is throwing me off in there because it almost feels worse than the one below.
I also think though that when you
should we adjust that word?
Yeah. It's kind of because like what are we defining as playoff hunt? Like. I feel like Ottawa's a team that'll hover around a playoff.
I don't know if they will, though. And the reason I say that is because there's so much change and now going from so little expectation to so much expectation.
I just changed it, by the way. Fun but out.
Okay, I like that.
They feel like fun but out.
Fun but out feels like them to me.
Okay, we're moving on to Tampa. And Luca, that's you.
Cup contenders again. This one's pretty easy.
Moving on.
They lost Ryan McDonough. That's all they lost.
Not the best, eh?
No, not the best. I don't think they're the best.
Saving that spot.
I'm saving that spot for one team that I've put there all the time.
Does anyone disagree that they're so good at this point where it's almost boring to rank them?
It really is.
Let's just move on.
We're moving on. Okay.
Thanks
Toronto, real quick. Corin, go ahead and then we move on.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, like cup contenders.
Yep.
We'll see with the goalies. I don't even think we need to talk about it that much. They're pretty similar, honestly. They've filled out some of that bottom six.
You're actually speeding up through this. Usually, you're a lot more excited at the start of the year. Like
you know what?
There's some
delusion.
delusion.
I like this out of you because you're ready for the playoffs already.
Guys, I said
ready
this at the end of last season.
You did.
I said when I will be the most miserable is when the season starts again, and then I have to go through the narratives of a full regular season that's pretty meaningless.
Just didn't happen last year. Last year you were hot on them at the beginning.
Is Matthews going to score 70?
I don't know. Either way.
I think he's going to score 70.
Cup contenders. I don't think we need to go that far into them.
Didn't think we were zooming through that. Okay. Carolina, Luca. Moving on to the Metro.
Like, I don't know if this is bold or if the flavor is getting stale in Carolina.
Oh, fun but bad.
No, I think playoff hunt for the Hurricanes.
Whoa! Wow, that is actually kind of cool on them. Whoa!
I'd stick them as a cup contender.
I'm cool on them for a couple of reasons. The offseason swings that they took, Pacioretty's out now. I think a lot of us felt a little more.
He'll be back.
That's fine.
They got him for free.
I want to
free.
I want to see him actually stay healthy
Not literal.
first before being like he's going to be an impact player for them because he hasn't played a lot of hockey in recent years. Paul Stastny, nice addition, sure. I don't see any superstar players that make this team a cup contender and that will take them to that next level. Maybe Svechnikov gets better. Maybe Aho continues to ascend. But I think the difference between them and the cup contenders is truly the star power.
I feel like the one thing that this team has been missing, like we've talked about, is just that elite goal scorer. And if Pacioretty can get healthy and like find his form with that team,
it's a big if.
I don't think it's that big of an if.
If you're depending on him to be that difference-making goal scorer superstar coming off an Achilles injury, that's a big ask for me.
The other guy, though, I think we're not giving room to grow, who was great for them last year, was Seth Jarvis.
Jarvis,
too.
for
he-
sure,
Jarvis,
man.
I think he could be pretty huge for them. I mean, like, they've
I think
obviously...
they have a deep roster. Like, I don't think anyone would argue with that. And they get Freddie, hopefully, for the entire season, and he's going to be a net this postseason.
So are we voting them up then? Because I
You
would
guys
say
voting them
I
up?
think
I
contenders.
think they're a cup contender. I think they're one of the most well-rounded teams in the league.
We're going to be...
You're
I'm
going to move
voting-
them
I'm
up
voting
regardless.
them
So
Yeah.
I'm fighting a losing battle.
They also have a really good coach,
It's fine.
Yeah. The bod.
the VOD.
We're moving on to the Devils, and that's you, Corwin. And, you know, last year you were trying to break up all of Jack Hughes' friends. Don't know what you're going to say this year.
And then...
You guys have
and
been
then
putting
I-
them in the playoffs for 3 years in a
Yeah.
row.
And then I tried to lock Johnny Gaudreau into their team.
And
the
the Devils.
Devils are locked in.
Devils
To
out.
Johnny Gaudreau, trust me, bro.
We said that on a
So
live
crazy.
podcast, and like literally 10 minutes after we left here, it was the other way.
Johnny
Columbus.
Columbus came up as a rumor, and I went, "Come on, it's Columbus." Like, I was like,
That's right.
guys, be serious.
Devils
Like,
outsider,
yeah.
Corwin McCallum, permanently on the
love it.
outside now.
On the
love
Blue
it.
No, I
Jackets
love it.
rumors.
And-
Come on.
That's so rude.
It's so rude. It was so unnecessary.
He was
awesome.
like, don't waste my time.
Yeah, we're off topic because I do hope that Columbus does well, but the Devils, I think they're fun but out.
Are they that
Hughes,
good,
Jack
man?
Hughes is going to take a step forward. He'll be an incredible player this year. They got Jesper Bratt signed.
I think they're definitely worse than the Senators, and they're worse than the Red Wings, in my opinion.
No,
Dude, this team is not that good.
You're
Like, I
you're-
feel like
I don't know why
I
you're
feel-
so high on the Red Wings. They added Palat too. Like that's their top six is better than the Red Wings.
Is it?
The biggest question mark
It's
for me
okay
on them
last
is just
year.
their goalies are like.
They got
It's-
Vanacek.
Yeah, they got Vanacek and Blackwood, which like neither of them
Uninspiring.
Are, yeah, so
For
so
sure.
that's kind of the main reason I have them out.
Let's move on to the team that we should have been doing before then. Sorry, folks, in Columbus, in case you were somehow following that we were doing this alphabetical. And Jesse, that's yours, because that's your second team. I'm going to say that a little louder if anyone wants to jump in. Jesse's second team.
I know. He has
Second
two teams.
team.
The Leafs first. Oh, I guess he has 3 teams.
He has 3.
You're telling me that the Leafs first. The Leafs
Yeah.
first, eh? You almost like the Leafs as much as the Avalanche these days,
I don't
bro.
think that's true
You
at all.
defend the
Yeah.
Leafs more than
Yeah.
anyone.
I
I'm gonna have to. I back
you
it
can
up.
tell me
You've been
that
pretty
I'm a
soft.
Leafs
You've been pretty
fan.
soft on them recently. I don't know about a fan, but you've been
cup
soft.
contenders.
And
What
now
are
you're
they
looking at
supposed to be soft?
Corwin like for his approval. Like, you are a bigger Leafs fan than me, buddy. Don't even
Definitely
try.
not.
It's getting close.
I will
Yeah.
publicly.
Austin Matthews, big fan.
Yeah. Who's not a fan of Austin Matthews?
This guy talked like he was gonna say Line over Matthews to him.
I like Austin Matthews a lot.
Love.
I actually love the Columbus Blue Jackets quite a bit. I'm going to put them, and you guys are probably going to say no chance. I'm putting them, but fun, but out. Columbus is not there yet, but I really, really like what the Blue Jackets are doing. I think they've been drafting really well. They've got Kent Johnson, who's going to be an absolute stud. Sillinger's great. I really like that top line of Gaudreau, Jenner, and Laine. They have a bunch of really good defensemen coming through their system, too. And with Juricic, and they drafted Matejchuk, good Manitoba boy. Columbus fans,
That Boqvist trade is
we're close.
Really
awesome
nice.
too.
Yeah, the Bogus trade looked
I
awesome.
said weird.
It's like, yeah. Oh, yeah. They're my second team. You know what, though? You know what? Like, sucks about Bjorkstrand. Kind of just had to soak that one. Like, maybe could have
I know,
gone some
that-
more value
that's
there.
a
But,
tough
like,
trade.
man, look, they tried to make some value for Patty, and they did. And I think Laine is scoring at least 40 this year. Let's just hold our horses here, Jackets fans, and it's
Let's get
coming.
some horses in the chat.
And I
Let's
will
get some horses in the chat. Please, horses in the comments.
I will hype up the fun part by just saying like that power play is gonna be electric.
Amazing.
Yeah, man.
Wierenski.
Okay, we're moving on in the Metro to the New York Islanders. That is me. I'm not going to call them fun, but like I also don't want to call them below that as far as like skill goes. I don't think they'll be dreadful, but I don't think they'll be in the playoff hunt, but they're not going to be
Interesting.
fun.
Fun but out is kind of like a weird way to describe like the teams that are just missing the playoffs.
They miss out on Gaudreau because at some point it seemed like they were in. It didn't work out.
Yeah.
Okay. They don't get Kadri because when Kadri hadn't signed for a while, it seemed like that was also a likely destination. And they just added Romanov, and like it cost them like a good, pick to get that. I definitely think that they'll be better than last year, but still pretty short of a playoff spot.
Interesting.
The one thing that makes them fun for me is to see if Barzal can return to form now that he's not playing in like a Barry Trotz system. I think that does hurt their playoff chances, which is why I'd probably put them fun but out. And then because the other part is I think Sorokin's like unbelievable, and I think that he could really steal them a lot of points that could keep them in contention, but like I'd probably
Fun
side
point
fun
made.
it out.
Fun point made. Yeah. Fun.
Even though they're so not fun.
Yeah. We're gonna move on, and we're gonna put them in fun but out. I think we can agree on that. And we're gonna move on to another team in New York. Oh, they're fun.
Like, I honestly feel like the Rangers are like a top 3 team in the league. I think they have like a lot. I think that's a lot of. They have a lot of great pieces that can carry them. I'm not going to say that they're the top because I still think that Colorado's better, but I think that they're right up there with the Lightning and the Avalanche.
Saying they're basically the best team outside of Avs and Tampa feels nuts to me. But
I don't know why. I don't know why that's nuts.
I don't know about
I could
nuts.
see
You
you
could disagree,
disagreeing with it, but I don't think it's like a nuts take.
Do you agree with them being cup contenders where you put them?
yeah, for sure.
Oh, okay.
And because like I do think the addition of Trocheck is great. I think that's like exactly what they need.
They got Sammy Blais back this year too.
Lafreniere needs to take a step forward though.
That needs to happen, and to continue them at the kind of pace that you're putting them at, you then need to say, okay, Chris Kreider, that wasn't a weird season where you scored 50 goals. You're going to do that every year now. Either way, I thought I wasn't going to be negative.
He's going to be negative
because I actually thought
hates the Rangers.
I think they had a great offseason, and I do think they are for sure a cup contender.
Listen, you can just hear the hate in his voice there. Hates the Rangers.
Like, I think I like them more than both of these teams. More than the Leafs and the Canes.
Philadelphia.
First overall favorites, baby.
Yeah. Slap them in.
Is there only one team
Really?
for first overall favorites?
I think this team.
Oh, if it's only one, then.
Or should we cap it? Like 2 teams should be in the first overall
One
favorites?
from the East, one from the West.
Maybe then, yeah.
Yeah.
If this is the East team for me because they are horrible. Sean Couturier is already
disagree.
hurt. Ryan Ellis, I don't know when he's ever going to play for the Flyers. Ristolainen and D'Angelo back there is going to be a disaster. Carter Hart hasn't looked like Carter Hart in 2 years. Nothing inspires me about this team offensively. JVR is going to be a trade chip, I'm sure, come deadline time. And John Tortorella is already calling out his locker room and killing guys on the ice.
John Tortorella's going to have you doing push-ups in an hour, by the way.
He killed a man today, okay?
And especially with Torts as a coach, like I think he has a proven track record of, like, it doesn't necessarily mean he's going to bring them to the playoffs or anything, but he has a proven track record of making teams competitive.
Yeah.
And I just think that
average
takes them,
teams.
Yeah, I think that takes them out of the first overall favorite thing. I think they will just
What
be one of
average
those
teams is he like?
Columbus.
Columbus was a lot more talented than this Philly team. Come on, guys.
Again, like the guys that killed the Leafs in that series were like Bjorkstrand and Foligno and like.
But Bjorkstrand has turned out to be a solid player, too.
He's a
back
good player.
then, it's made sense for you to say his name that way. You should not be saying his
I
name
just
like
don't
that
think
today.
this Flyers team, like you're looking at it, who's going to score more than 25 goals? Who's going to get more than 60 points?
I think that, like, talent-wise, the Flyers are one of the worst teams in the league for sure.
Yeah.
But I do agree with the fact that, like, I just think Torts is going to get more out of this team than we're all expecting. However, let's not forget the great Mike Babcock goes to the Maple Leafs, and then they literally finish like almost last place in the league. So like, you never know if like a good coach can go to a team and like they can still finish in last place. Is all I'm saying.
All right, moving on.
Penguins, this might be pretty boring. I'm just going to put them in playoff hunt. I didn't love their moves. Again, there is some upside with like the Ty Smith thing. But I still like Marino's actually like a pretty good defenseman, so that was a little weird, and so was the Matheson one. Yeah, like I don't think they improved, and some of the other teams around them did, so I just think they're kind of a playoff hunt.
Moving on.
No,
Oh.
I disagree. I think
not.
I think the Penguins are a cup contender. If you look at what they did against New York last year, they very well could have won that series.
Shut up.
What?
Shut
They-
up.
I'm
What if
just
they
saying.
what if they didn't have Louis Domingue in net?
Well, they were able to keep Raquel. They were able to keep Malkin. They were able to keep Rust. They were able to keep that core together. Their defense, they lost a couple pieces, but they also gained a couple pieces. I think Petry's going to be a welcomed
Petry
in that top 4.
Yeah,
I think
good.
Ty Smith has potential there too as like a bottom pairing guy. But if you guys disagree, that's fine. I just think they have all the pieces to do it.
They're a case for like the in-betweens. Like, so I don't know if I vote them out, but like.
Dark horse.
I keep him in
Sure.
playoff hunt personally, but I mean we can just vote on it now.
I'd probably keep them in playoff or
All right, that's
I
fine.
said playoff
You
horse.
guys know how I feel about them.
Okay, we're moving on to the final team in the East, final team in the Metro, the Washington Capitals. If it weren't for a bunch of injuries, I would put them in cup contenders, but I'm just going to put them in playoff hunt, and we'll see what happens to them from there.
Washington's a pretty interesting team this year. They had a couple additions, right? They got Strome and
Kemper.
Connor Brown and Kemper. Yeah, maybe they're still in contender. I'd say playoff hunt is like perfect for them.
Arizona, that's going to be our first team in the West. That's you, Jesse. I think we all know where this team is going.
Yeah, I'd just stick them in first overall favorites. But you know what? I feel like I've been saying this for a long time now. In a couple years, they are. They look.
just cuts it.
You can use this take next year and the year after this.
They are building. Like they're accumulating some nice pieces. They're just not there yet. They're looking to tank. Get Bedard in Arizona. That'd be electric. Get Matthews there too in 2024. Let's go.
2024, that's not happening, but
knew that was coming.
Yeah,
but the biggest thing, like, I agree, first of all.
Yeah.
But the biggest concern for me is just like they haven't drafted well. Like, cause like they've had so many high picks and like none of them are panning out.
almost no advantage at home. Although
None.
it'll be way more rowdy because at least it's a college atmosphere, but there's just
No beer.
way less people.
No, but when it's
Don't
such
agree.
a tight
I think they
space,
do have an advantage at home. Their fans are going to be way louder. They're going to be, for the first time in how long, the Coyotes are going to actually be in like an intimate barn where they can feel their fans' energy.
Okay, moving on to Chicago, another team we can just absolutely zoom by here. This is me. I guess we can only pick one team to be in the bottom, but they really would have been fighting for that spot.
they've been doing their best.
They've been doing their best.
They're gonna
They
continue to do
shed
their
a
best.
lot of their roster, and once they shed Kane and Taves, when the deadline comes around, once those guys find a spot that feels like it fits them, they're in between that first overall pick and obviously just totally out of it. But I'll put them just above that because I believe in Arizona a little bit more. And again, we can now transition into Colorado from there, where again, maybe one of those guys ends up there. Be a better story for you than it would be for Chicago.
Wonder where this is going.
They're going to the top. The only guy they really lost was Kadri, and they've got some injuries to start the season. But, I mean, I believe in that infrastructure. They've got the best defensive core in hockey. Obviously questions in net, but they had questions in net and just won the cup with subpar goaltending. Average goaltending. So
Average is a better word.
Average is probably a better word.
Way better word. Subpar is like pretty harsh.
He was subpar
No,
some
like in the
games.
playoffs,
He
he
was
was
in the
not
playoffs.
good.
Okay,
That's what I
fine.
mean. Like they
All
won the
right,
cup with
all right.
subpar to average goaltending, and so you're banking on your infrastructure. You bring in Evan Rodriguez. Obviously, 2C is going to be the biggest question with this team.
Yeah.
Is it going to be Newhook? Is it going to be Comfer? Is it going to be Evan Rodriguez? Top six is amazing regardless. Their forward group is great. They have the best defensive unit in hockey.
Only thing is that I'll say I think they're worse than last year.
Okay.
Which I think opens
And they
the door
won.
a bit.
So
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, I still agree with them as the cup favorite.
Although I do think Georgiev could be pretty good.
Lots of upside. Congrats on your cup win. I hope you don't win again. Okay,
Let's go.
Dallas, core win.
I think they're going to have a bit of a tough go here. When you just look at how good the Central is every year. I'm really battling with this one, but I think I will put them fun but out. Yeah, it's tough because I love Heiskanen, and I do think Mason Marchment's a decent ad. It's a bit sketchy because, like, again, another one of those guys has one great year. Who knows? I still think he is a good player, and I think he will be good, but obviously I'm just, like, addressing some of the risk that comes with the team. As much as Klingberg, like, clearly there was some issues there on the team, but that's still a good player that they lost and didn't really replace.
Like I just feel like Dallas is going to be right there in the wild card hunt this year, and they have the talent, and they got a new coach coming in who seems like a player's coach.
I don't hate it.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. I also would say Ottinger is one of those ones that had a really good playoffs. Another guy that hasn't had like a dominant regular season yet, where he's like a
I feel
number
like he was
one
pretty good
starter.
last year. He was pretty good last year though. No?
But not like he was in the playoffs. It's not like he was the stud.
Minnesota. It's all yours, Jesse.
I'm not going to call them a cup contender, but I feel like they're kind of like between cup contender and playoff hunt. Like I feel like there's another category I'd put them kind of in that in between space, but I don't think I'm ready to call them a cup contender right now.
You didn't like them last year that much. You weren't like a hater of them, but you definitely of
No,
all
they
the
didn't blow
people
me away.
in this room.
and
you
they
definitely
and they
liked them,
didn't
yeah.
and they didn't blow away. I'm just not prepared to call them a contender yet.
Tough years are coming because of the
Because
lost
of
Fiala.
Fiala.
They
As a
just
result
lost
of his-
Fiala. as a
yeah.
result,
Exactly. They
so
just
it's-
lost Fiala.
Losing Fiala is like
It's
crazy.
huge.
To lose
He
him
was one of
and
their
not-
best players.
Yeah, and just really
Can't
not
replace him.
replace him in any way.
Yeah.
At
At
least
least
not
not in the
how
immediate.
would you? But
Might lose Dumba, and Fleury and net is always a question mark at this age too.
Yeah, I'm sick of them in playoff hunt.
Yeah. Okay.
That's fair.
Fair. And moving on to Nashville, Luca, that is all yours.
Playoff hunt. I think this team is going to be in the mix again, and I think it's just because of how much I trust Saros and net. Yossi being amazing again. I like that they got McDonough. I think that gets the back end a little better, and I like Tomasino. I like Cody Glass, like as they're young guys. They're a solid playoff team. I think they're going to be in it. I like just the back end and the goalie specifically, though. That
They
makes
are a
them
good team. They're pretty sound.
Saros is the
He's
big
incredible.
thing. Like he's just.
I think
a great
playoff. I
goalie.
think playoff hunt is very appropriate for them.
Okay, going on from another strong playoff hunt team to another very interesting, strong team. Maybe even higher. St. Louis, Corwin. Definitely better than Nashville, but where are you going to put them?
I do think they're better than Nashville. I don't think they're a cup contender. They're very deep on forward. It's the same thing where Binnington, like, now they lose Husso, right? That like, so they don't have that kind of like 1-2 option anymore. Can you depend on Binnington for the full season to put you in that cup contention thing? He's obviously done it a bunch of times, so he may make me eat my words here, but I just don't think when I look at those top 4 teams in the cup contenders area, I don't necessarily put them with them. But the one thing I will say now looking at it is that because we have all those teams from the East, it's possible that the Blues kind of have an easier path in the West, and maybe that puts them into cup contender.
Man,
I know what I will. I'm gonna put them cup contender.
they put up a great fight against Colorado.
Yeah.
My one thing though, I mentioned this earlier. I think Perron is a big loss for that team, and I think that like we'll see when the playoffs come around. They're gonna be missing a guy like him.
All right, well, that's it for the Central. Don't think there's any other teams in there, so
Is it my turn now?
yeah, it is. The Jets.
Playoff hunt?
Yeah, you know what? Why not? Stick him in the playoff hunt for sure is my plan the whole time. I
Should
do
we
think.
vote now or?
Well, look. Last
Down
year,
one, sound them down.
Look,
Sound
last
them
year,
down.
last year was a fluke. It was just a terrible year for the Jets. It was, man. We lost our coach in the middle of the season.
Just lost your captain.
Obviously, some teams are going to take those top 3 spots in the Central. I could absolutely see them battling with 3 or 4 other teams for those final playoff spots.
If it's truly the start of a new era, go ahead and get rid of your jerseys and go back to the heritage ones, okay? Moving on from there, right?
I mean, I love the Heritage Classic jerseys, so.
Move them down.
Why? I want to hear.
No,
both your
move
guys'
on.
reason for moving them
I was
down.
saying fuck your team because you
I
missed
think
the
there are a
fist
couple
bump.
of those teams. That's it.
Okay, let's start fresh with the Pacific. The final division here in the West. It's Anaheim for you, Corwin.
It's fun, but
They might be the
Yeah,
most
They're-
accurate
they are
representation for
the
that.
funnest team and the outest team.
Yeah.
That like they're not gonna like again. We were just talking about how good the Pacific is. I don't think they can make the step this year, especially because like when we say fun but out. Just show me a picture of their D core, because like it's weird. Their D have some crazy talented players. Cam Fowler, Jamie Drysdale.
Forgot about Fowler.
Yeah, then obviously Klingberg, then Shattenkirk, Kulikov I think is the other guy in there, and like Kulikov's the one that's not that fun, but the rest of them are like really fun defensemen, but it just feels like they're gonna allow a lot of shots going the other way.
And of course, they got your cover boy.
They got the
NHL
cover boy.
23. That tier is perfect for them. All right, let's move on to Calgary. Lots of shifting and shaking there. Luca, it's all yours.
Cup contender. I think it's appropriate. I love the moves that they made. Like as much as you want to be like you just let 2 100-point scorers go, and I don't know if they'll have one this year. That Huberdeau is a great player, but you're asking a lot.
They got
one
Huberdeau.
back.
They got one back.
Huberdeau.
He was a 100-point.
He wasn't a 100-point guy. There are going to be some growing pains between just getting used to playing with different players, and they got Kadri, and we can all debate about whether
basically another 100-point guy.
basically, but we can all debate on whether that was an anomaly last year and if he'll ever produce like that again, and he's not playing with the same caliber of players that he was in Colorado. I think it's a really good team, and I think it's probably going back to more of a team that Daryl Sutter is used to winning with, as opposed to maybe what the Flames were last year.
If you don't
Uyghur
buy
feels
it.
more like a Sutter guy to me, and
You just mean that their
they're
D is so
sacrificing
strong.
offense a little more for more defensive consistency and structure, even though Huberdeau doesn't exactly fit there, but it's like, you got Huberdeau back, so you're not going to not take him.
Yeah, that's fair.
And Markstrom.
Yeah, Markstrom's
He had
great.
a really bad series, but then that comes
Brutal.
back to picking up a guy like Uyghur's. Like, you're
Well,
getting
and
that
that-
guy to stop Connor McDavid, hopefully, and match up against Connor McDavid.
And that can happen to any goalie in the playoffs.
Of course.
All right, I'm up next with the Edmonton Oilers. I feel like that's another one. You can just go ahead and slide into cup contenders. We kept laughing at the fact that they just would never settle their goaltending, and they haven't necessarily locked it on and totally settled it, because you hope Campbell is exactly what you're getting when he's at his heights, but, you know, he can be a little bit streaky. Either way, a better option than what they had. On top of that, they get Kane. Pretty friendly deal there, too. That worked out really well. They took a risk. Now he's on their top line. Absolutely killing it with McDavid. I think they're going to win their division. And on top of that, yeah, I think they're a cup contender. Okay, let's move it on to the Los Angeles Kings. Another team making steps this way, but how high up?
They're still in the playoff hunt, but if things go right for them this season, they could be a contender by the end of the season. But I don't know if I'm ready to call them a contender quite yet. They need guys to take step forwards, and it's totally possible. I mean, what are we going to see out of Byfield this year?
Yeah, but I mean, the one thing, adding Fiala.
Fiala's
it's
huge.
huge.
Fiala's massive. And
Huge.
Kempe was
Getting him re-signed.
on
Yeah.
a good deal.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, if you had to put them in cup contenders, I would have been like, I don't know, I'd be kind of into, like, the hot take of
Prove it to me first.
I know.
Prove it
It's
to
the
me
more
first.
sensible
Yeah.
pick to put them there, but in my mind, I'm like,
Who wants that?
I know.
We
I'm-
want
No
sensible.
one wants sensible. Speaking of sensible, Luca, do what you need to do here with San Jose.
Cup contender. No chance. No chance. Love Mario Ferraro. Guy's a legend. Nice re-upping with the Sharks. But it's going to be tough. They don't have a lot of young players that I think you're super excited about. And they didn't do a lot this offseason. Timo Meyer's great. I hope they can keep him around. Hurdle committed to this team.
That was the most rattling part of the
Yeah,
offseason.
it was-
was him re-signing in San Jose.
Guy loves the weather.
How much did he get?
Yeah, you can't knock it. That was, I think, like $8 million or something.
I love Mike Greer in charge. I love that. I think he's going to hopefully bring this team back to what we're used to seeing.
Okay, so we're moving on to Seattle. We were pretty low on them as a room last year, no?
We
were
No, all
harsh on
yeah,
them.
no, we were harsh on them all season long.
Highly critical.
I don't quite remember what we were like when because people were, don't forget, like they were saying the next Vegas. Not in this room, but definitely.
I think analytics models
Yes, they liked them.
to be
They
bad.
liked them. That was definitely
They
a
had
thing.
them decent, but nobody.
It had them as a playoff.
We
team.
crapped on them, and we're
And they were terrible.
absolutely right.
Yeah.
They're not going to be as bad as last year because you get Burakovsky and you get Bjorkstrand. Great for you guys.
And
Shane Wright.
And Shane Wright.
boy.
Matty
Your boy.
Beniers?
Yeah.
I think Matty Beniers is my pick to win Rookie of the Year.
Fun but
I
out.
think he's going to win.
We're excited about them, but I don't think we're excited about anyone else.
Yeah, their D is tough.
It's
Brutal.
not good.
And that was supposed to be like their
Grubauer-
strength when-
Grubauer
at
might
the
be
start.
Okay, yeah. I'll vote
There.
that.
They don't have a
No.
chance.
I just
All right,
Jesse just
all right.
scrolled by their D corners.
Did he get to Grubauer yet?
They will
No,
be.
but I knew Grubauer.
They will be a
He'll
fun
fine.
team. Just give them time.
Okay, we're moving on now to Vancouver with Corwin.
That was a spicy one, too. A couple spicy ones to end it.
Yeah, I don't know if this is crazy. I'm gonna go playoff hunt. I'm a big
Yeah.
fan of their roster. I think they're.
This guy's crazy. No, I was kidding.
Iconic.
Really wasn't that crazy.
Yeah, I mean, well, they looked a lot better with Bruce Boudreau, and then Demko, good goalie. I think their D-core is probably the biggest question mark, which it still is not terrible. But let's say Pettersson bounces back. If he bounces back, their top 9 competes with, I think, pretty much anybody in the league.
I think the offense is going to have to, well, Demko obviously, and the offense is going to have to carry this team because this is might be the worst defensive group. It's up there with the worst defensive group in the league. in my
I don't think
opinion.
it's that bad.
Dude, it's terrible.
think you're
Outside of Hughes, Ekman Larson, I don't mind. Myers, not that
They're
good anymore.
serviceable guys. Some teams don't have serviceable guys.
I'd rather have Ben Sherratt than Luke Shen.
Ben Sherratt. That's literally what he's going to be
that's a
doing.
mistake.
Balancing out.
I would 1,000% rather have Ben Sherratt than Luke Shen.
And
No question.
I think you're wrong.
Okay, the final team in all of this, Las Vegas, is going to you, Jesse.
Las Vegas.
The real Las Vegas of the Vegas.
I don't think Vegas is that good this year. I think they're in the playoff hunt. I'm not calling them a contender. Not yet. No way. I think there are way too many question marks in net for them. I think that's going to be serious issue. They've obviously got some good forwards. They've got like some good D. I don't think they're that deep, and I don't think that they're as good as everyone is making them out to be.
I think Calgary and Edmonton are right now clearly better teams than Vegas, like in terms of they're just more well-rounded. The biggest problem that we all gave them excuses for were like, oh, well, they've had all these goalie injury problems, and then like Pacioretty being out, and like all these things, and it's like, well,
They don't have a goalie.
they didn't get a goalie now, so that just injury problem is forever. And then Pacioretty, they gave him away for free. Dadonov's gone. I hope they do well. Like, I know you hate Vegas. I hope Vegas does well.
They
but
can rot at the bottom of the standings.
All right. Well, that's our whole list. I guess we can look at it now and are there any changes? I'm just going to say, I get it. You guys are really want to bump the Sabres up. I think you should bump Montreal down. Because when I look at the teams that the Sabres are with there, it kind of makes sense to me.
I don't know.
As far as levels go, and this whole fun word thing is throwing people off, I get it. But as far as like levels, the Sabres are not anywhere close in talent level to a lot of those teams in that fun but out
I
category.
don't know.
They hang with the Devils.
I think the Sabres are better than the Devils.
No.
This guy hates the Devils.
I think they might be
He
better
really
than
does.
the Ducks.
They're not better than the Devil. Come on.
I'm with Z. I think just bump Montreal down, honestly.
You can.
I would bump the Devils down too then.
No. That's
Yeah,
harsh. That's
I would too, because they're the team that stands out there that's
I
like,
hates the Devils.
I don't think the Devils
so
are making. I don't
much.
think the Devils are sniffing the playoffs.
agreed. I
That's
think,
why they're fun but out.
no, but by that same token, the Sabres are
weird
a lot
definition.
funner than the Devils.
Take the
and
Habs. Fun is the problem.
Yeah.
here.
They're not funner than the Devils.
I can't
they
believe
are.
it.
The Sabres are pretty fun, man, and they've got power this year. They've got a good top four.
The word fun is the problem,
Their
I'm telling you.
top 9 is fun.
The fun here is the problem.
I'll leave the Sabres in no chance if we can move the Devils and Habs down, because that feels more complete
Yeah,
to me
I'd do that.
than
I'd
it
do that.
does leaving
I'd
the
do that.
Sabres
I'd do
with
that.
Chicago, San Jose,
That's
and
cool.
Seattle.
That's cool. I'd
And
be
move
fine
the
with that.
Sens up?
Yeah. Because, like, again, I do think this exercise is trying to find the tiers of team in the league based on, like, actual skill level and how they'll do. Guys,
I may or
in
may
true
not-
NHL fashion, fun was the problem.